Hi, Science and Magic. Welcome in. I'm going to get set up on my couch here. I hope that you are all having a beautiful day. My name is Amanda Helen, and this is my channel, Science and Magic. Today, we're going to be talking about how to receive and how to receive with grace. I am currently in Santiago, Chile, and my little baby met his grandma, his abuela, a couple of days ago, and it's just been completely magical. So we're in my Airbnb right now, and she's taking him on a walk. So I thought it would be really fun to live stream. I love connecting with all of you, and I've been thinking a lot about this topic since I've been out. So feel free to say hi in the chat, and please do let me know that you can hear me. I'm using a different mic system than I normally use. Let's check this. So the grace of receiving. This was stemmed and inspired by a conversation that I had with one of my clients. And she was saying, well, first of all, shout out to Rima at the Alignment Academy. She said that I could share her information, but she, in one of our sessions, said, to receive is to love. To receive is to love. And I think so often we think of when we love someone, we give to them. But actually, the opposite is true as well. When we love someone, we receive from them. And this is such a profound rewiring for many of us. I know for me, it kind of stopped me in my tracks. I was like, you're so right. And I want to talk about that today and figure out what some blocks might be in the way of receiving, because receiving is such a sacred thing. They're equally important in the expression of life and in love. They are one and the same. They are the lead of the dance and the follow of the dance. They're the masculine and the feminine. So we need both in order for there to be the expression of love and the expression of life. I want to give some examples from nature of how there's giving and receiving. So the earth the ground receives leaves that fall from trees in the fall. That was the first imagery that came to mind, is that the leaves fall from the branches in the sky, and the ground receives those leaves as compost and nourishment and nutrients and waste to be made into new life. But there's a receptivity that happens. The riverbed receives the water as it flows through, and the ocean receives that water at the end of the river. So there's a receiving of the river water. Plants receive light. They grow up towards the light. They blossom their leaves, their flowers, their blooms, and they receive light as nourishment in order to grow. So there's a receiving of that. The cave receives the bear during winter hibernation. It holds the bear. It protects the bear. So in these examples, receiving and offering are completely natural. There's no judgment. There's a neutrality almost about them. And that is the number one thing I want to emphasize in this live stream, that there is a natural element to receptivity. And many times we can judge receiving in so many ways, which we're going to talk about today. And I put a poll on my community tab about what are your blocks to receiving. And they're anything from, I feel weak when I receive, I feel like I'm putting someone out, I feel like I'm going to owe the other person something. And so there's all these judgments we place on the act of receiving, when really it's simply neutral. It's the dance of life, actually. In general, the feminine expression, feminine energy, is that of receptivity, which I think is so interesting, that we think when we love someone, we give, because gifting is masculine. And these energies of masculine, feminine, of giving, of receiving, they exist in all life forms. They exist in all bodies. And some of us might identify more as a feminine essence being, and some might identify more as a masculine essence being. And if you're someone who identifies as a feminine essence being, then you will feel more at home in the act of receiving. Now, you may be someone who is cut off from your feminine energy and feel blocked and nervous about receiving. But once you let down your guard and you're able to receive, you feel great in it. It's actually your home. It's native to you. So when you love someone, you give to them. And when you love someone, you also receive from them. Before we get into these blocks that I put on my channel, I want to share about my program, Nervous System of a Goddess. I've talked about this several times in my video. I'm so excited to offer this. There have been many new students who have signed up, and it's a multiple level program. The first level is Soften, and that is all about understanding the nervous system. It is my foundational level course. I recommend it to anyone and everyone who has a nervous system to understand the different branches and then how to actually soften the body and be more feminine in that softening. It's level 1. Level 2 is Glow. I have both of those available for purchase. Glow is about tapping into the brilliance and the radiance of your heart. It's about glowing in your body. We talk a bit about grooming. We talk about vitality and radiance. And level 3 will be about receptivity. I haven't launched it yet, but I'll do it live at some point this year. I don't have any immediate plans for it, but just know that I recommend moving through at least level 1 before signing up for something like receptivity. Because the truth is, if you step into a state of receptivity, it asks for softness, it asks for openness. And if you feel like you're guarded and you don't understand your nervous system, you will block your blessings every time. So step 1 is going to be soften for sure. And of course, as you glow, you're going to get more invitations, more opportunities, and to learn how to receive those things is really important if you don't want to block them. I also just launched a TikTok, and I'm going to start releasing short form videos both on my TikTok and Instagram at some point in the next week. So please do follow me there. It's at science.and.magic. I'll link that in the show notes as well. So those are my announcements. I'm going to check the chat and see what you all are saying. Hi, Amanda. Love that. There's a natural element to receiving. Yes, receiving is natural. That is one of the biggest affirmations that I want you all to, or I invite you all to take away from this, is that receiving is natural, especially if you're a feminine essence being, especially it's your natural state. It is your divine, I want to say right to just be able to receive. Like you are the ocean that's receiving the water, you know? Okay. So blocks to receiving. The first one, 21% of you said that you feel too tight to be an energetic match to receiving. You feel that you're too bound up, and there could be blessings trying to come into you, but you feel you're blocking those blessings with your tight aura, with your like it's so metaphorical, but you're tight, like your wound up shoulders and your tight jaw, you're like, your whole energy is clenching down into life, and you're not soft and open and willing. Your psyche's tight. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. I actually have a video all about, it's called The Feminine Melt. It's one of my more popular videos. I've linked that in the show notes in the description. And there's actually one about being too full. Like if you have too much stuff in your energy field, if you have too much stuff in your mind, if you have too much stuff in your space, you're not going to be able to, there's no room to receive. So how can you receive newness? And I have a whole video about that as well, that you have to release in order to receive. But one of the main blocks might be that you're just not an energetic match to receiving, that there's not space in your life, that there's not space in your aura. So the antidote to this would be Stretching, first of all, like actually, there's so much that happens when you stretch your body, when you stretch your physical cells of your body. And that could be in the form of like stretching your muscles, but also stretching your connective tissue. And I have a yin yoga course that moves throughout the whole body. You'll hear about that in the video about the feminine melt. And stretching will help you not to stretch your body, but stretch your psyche. It'll help you tone your nervous system. You could also make space, like literally make space in your world. So that could be getting rid of things like physical items that no longer resonate with you or that you feel meh about. Like clear space for things that you feel so excited about. Like open your life up to that so that you can be a match. Relaxing is really important to be a match for receiving. Again, if you're bound up, if you're tight, if you're not available, like something could be knocking at your door and you just don't, you're not able to open the door because you're too scared. It's locked. You want to be able to relax, be like, I'm safe. I'm assuming that's the person knocking at my door is delivering a profound gift to me, or my favorite snack, or is someone I love. So think about your state when it comes to opening yourself up to newness and freshness. And that's the other piece I had for the antidote would be opening, like opening up. Yes, stretching and breathing are essential every day for me. So important. I think embodiment practices, I mean, look, we're more than these bodies, 100%. I think that we're this mix of spirit and of body, but there's so much that we can do in and through the body. So that's my framework. However, I work with clients, it's working through the body, through how we relate to the body, through the nervous system. Because yes, we're spirit, but we're in these bodies. So they influence our experience. And taking the time to understand how you're relating to your body, how your nervous system is relating to the world can be so helpful and essential in self-development work. So the next series are beliefs. And the first one is more of an embodiment. Like, are you tight? It has a lot to do with like safety, with vulnerability. But these other ones are more beliefs. I would say, okay, so number 2, I said you're not feeling worthy or good enough to receive blessings. So if you're not feeling worthy or good enough to receive blessings, you're not going to receive them because you're not a match for them. 17% of you said that. So 21% of you said you feel too tight and too full. 17% said you're not feeling worthy or good enough. I'm telling you, if they're coming to you, you're an energetic match for them. If someone is gifting you something, you're a match for it. Like you're worthy of it. It's for you. So you just have to open your hands and let it in. I think there's also a belief that worth is tied up with performance. So I see this a lot with my clients who are often high achievers and high performers, that they have a conditioning that I'm worthy of this thing that I'm receiving because I've done this thing, because I've achieved this goal, because I've checked this thing off of my to-do list. And breaking up that belief is important for so many reasons, so many reasons. But I'll give some examples in nature. Like, does the moon need to showcase worth to receive light from the sun? No. Do we ever think like, oh, the moon's worthy enough tonight? It's really showing a lot of light. No, it just is. The moon just receives light and reflects light. Or the basin at the bottom of a waterfall receiving this gorgeous flow of the water. Does the basin need to be worthy to receive the flow of the water? No, not at all. It just is. The basin just is, and it's just receiving. Like there's no tie up with worth and receptivity. It's natural. So I say take worth out of the art of receptivity. Just take it out. Like it doesn't, there's no correlation there. I also think it's really important to explore this belief of, is my worth tied up with my performance? But if we just take worth, if we detach worth and receptivity, then that's not even an issue if you believe that worth is tied up with your performance. Um, like all nature, like you are divine. We are divine beings. We are the sunflower that sprouts up from the earth. We are the moon that receives light from the sun and reflects that sun. We're made up of the same consistency. So our worth is inherent and it doesn't even matter because receiving is natural. Feel free to say hi when you're tuning in. It's so good to connect with all of you. I'm far away from the camera today. It feels kind of strange for me. Normally I'm up closer, but this is my Airbnb and I just thought it was such a cute background that I wanted to use it. Let me know where you're tuning in from as well. I'm so curious. And also feel free to ask questions as I go along, to participate in the chat. That helps kind of spur my conversation and my thought process around some of this. Okay, number 3. This one, it was only 6%. So 6% of you said, I feel like I'm putting someone out when I receive from them. Okay, it's only 6%, but it's still worth exploring. I think that this belief is tied in with scarcity. So if you feel like you're putting someone out, that means inherently like there's not enough. Like they're not going to have enough. I'm taking away something from them by receiving from them. The first thing that popped to my mind with this belief was like, do you feel put out when you give? Like, do you feel like someone's taking something from you when you're giving? That might be an interesting reflection. Another thing is that I don't think that blessings come from someone specifically. They actually flow through whatever vessel that it's coming through from the never-ending, unlimited universe. So the universe offers blessings, and where it's coming from, a person, an opportunity, whatever vessel, it's just a vessel. So you can't actually put someone out because they're a channel of the universe, if that makes sense. So shifting your perspective in that way can be a really powerful antidote for feeling this belief that I'm putting someone out by receiving something from them. Like I'm taking something from them. They don't have enough. Actually see them as a vessel of never-ending supply. Change your consciousness to see the avenue of the gifting as unlimited. And then it's like, okay, that's overflow. So if someone pays for your dinner, the universe is paying for your dinner through that person. If someone gifts you with a beautiful piece of jewelry, the universe is gifting you with a beautiful piece of jewelry. If someone opens the door for you or offers to carry your groceries, the universe is offering those things to you. And so you say thank you and you soften and you allow and you let go and just let it happen. And you say thank you to them, but really it's thank you to the universe. It's thank you to God. It's thank you to spirit. It's thank you to these unseen realms, the same realm that the sunlight gifts. Like it's thank you, nature. I'm just a part of that. So rather than feeling put out, you're putting someone out, see them as an unlimited vessel of the universe. Number 4, it feels weak to be in a receptive state, and I like to feel strong. 9%. So again, lower numbers. I'm assuming that's because most of my followers are women who identify as having a feminine essence. And not that women aren't strong, but the priority of feminine energy is not necessarily strength. It's actually the energy of yielding and relaxing into strength. So maybe if you responded to this, your core essence is actually masculine. And that's totally okay. That's beautiful. Masculine energy is really beautiful. But if you're someone who likes to feel strong, as your primary embodiment, I love to feel strong. I mean, I love to feel, I've been, going to the gym and tapping into my strength and lifting weights. I love to feel strong and powerful when I walk in the street. Like there's so many ways I love to feel strong. But I would say I don't have an aversion to not feeling strong, if that makes sense. I am also okay being seen as soft. So perhaps your core essence is more masculine. Um, or maybe you have your guard up and you don't feel safe. So this would be like, if you don't want to be seen as, you like to feel strong because it's not safe to feel otherwise. This would be where doing some work with trauma or nervous system care might be really powerful for you to understand if your nervous system is extra guarded, extra alert, extra activated, and to understand how to shift that and understand how to feel safe when you're actually not strong. Let's talk about the definition of weakness because I looked it up. Because I think weak and I'm like, oh, that's lame. I don't want to be weak either. So there's three definitions. One, lacking physical strength, energy, or vigor. Okay, that makes sense. Two, likely to fail under pressure, stress, or strain. And three, lacking firmness of character or strength of will. So, yeah, I think this is interesting because is receiving weak to receive, lacking physical strength, energy, or vigor? Um, I would say in these examples of nature, none of this is true. That to receive, again, if we just make it neutral, you could receive when you're weak or you could receive when you're strong. Like, is the moon weak? Are plants weak? No, they're like growing up towards the light, actually. They're extending, they're blossoming, they're opening, they're reaching. Are they weak? No, but they're receiving light. Is the ground weak when it receives the leaves that fall in the autumn season? No, the ground is like solid, it's firm, but it's receiving those leaves. So taking the judgment out of it, and also exploring some beliefs you might have from childhood around receptivity and weakness. I think in general, our society really reveres giving and independence in the Western world. So receiving, it is really passive. Well, I don't want to get so much into that. I have a whole video on the embodiment of receptivity again, which I've linked in the description. But for the purpose of this video, just decouple weakness and receptivity. You can receive when you're strong, you can receive when you're weak. Like it's not a thing. Okay. Now, 47% of you, 47 said, I feel like I'll owe something back and that's uncomfortable for me. So when you receive, you feel like you're going to owe something back to someone, and that's uncomfortable for you. Okay, let's talk about nature here. First, do flowers owe the sun? Is the sun like, you owe me because I gave you so much light? You owe me something back. No, the sun doesn't say you owe me for your beauty. You owe me because I've fed you and nourished you and given you light. You owe me. Mm-mm. Does the ocean owe the river for receiving its flow? No. Again, it just is. It's it's a natural thing to receive and to give, and it's equal in importance. In fact, you're not going to have gifting without the energy of receiving. So you need both. Also, the question, do you feel like people owe you when you give to them? Like, are you projecting that? Like, do you feel like, oh, I'm gifting you something, so now that person owes me? Or did it show up in your upbringing in some way? This belief of, I feel like I'll owe something back, and that's uncomfortable. Like, I know, my mother was a single, hardworking woman. So, but she had a lot of pride, and she never liked to receive help. And there was help that was given to her, offered to her, but she didn't like to. She wanted to do it on her own. And I think she had this belief of, well, she didn't want to appear weak, but she always feels like she owes something back. Like I noticed that about her, like, oh no, I need to gift this back, or as you almost like rebound the energy back. So notice if it showed up in your childhood in some way and how that might be impacting you as an adult and as a feminine essence being. So those are the 5 blocks and beliefs. Let me know if you have any questions and I can attend to those. Otherwise, I'm done sharing information at this time, but I would love to hang around and chat with you all to answer questions that you may have. I'll review quickly. Block number 1, I'm too tight and too full. I'm not a match for receiving. Block number 2, I don't feel worthy or good enough to receive blessings. Take the worth out of it. Block number 3, I feel like I'm putting someone out when I receive from them, like I'm taking something from them. Block 4, it feels weak to be in a receptive state, and I like to appear strong to the world. Block 5, I feel like I'll owe something back, and that's uncomfortable for me. I hope this was helpful for you all. Wow, this is deep. Deep down, I feel like people owe something back. And my parents also embodied that energy. Yeah. It's a big thing to admit. And often, I think in general, with triggers and when we feel that way about something outside of us, can be really helpful to reflect and say, like, wow, does this show up in some way for me and in my world and in my life? And my parents embodied that energy. Yes. So when you gift someone, how you might approach this is notice that, first of all, just notice that psyche coming up, like now they owe me something back, and see if you can fall into your heart. So the heart is like this unlimited place where you can connect to your own essence into the energy of the collective. And it very much holds earth and cosmic energy. And tap into your heart, and your hands are an extension of your heart as well. So if you're handing someone something, feel it from your heart. If you're gifting someone something virtually, if you're gifting someone with words, with like a compliment, just feel it, be in your heart, and let your heart gift it. You're not going to think your way out of this, because in your mind is the conditioning that you saw from your parents. So we can definitely do neural rewiring, and we can work with the subconscious. And I have programs for that. I do that with my clients. But know that the heart just has this technology, even without the mind. So often the antidote can be to do, to act, to be in the heart. I was just able to join. Hi, Amber. Look forward to watching from the beginning. Oh, I hope you like it. Amanda, question. When a business owner does hustle practice and does 10x strategy like Grant Carson's teachings, how come it works for some entrepreneurs and not others? I'm not familiar with Grant Carson's teachings, actually. But, oh, I mean, this could be so many things. Well, I would say hustle practices, it depends on your constitution. So if you're more masculine essence, hustle practices will work pretty well for you. you do need to rest, like you need to have a little bit of rest, but not as much as feminine essence beings. For my human design projectors who are watching this, hustle's not going to work. You need, unless that's something that feeds you, but it'll probably burn you out. So it depends on your energetic constitution. It depends on your um, how you kind of identify as a more masculine or feminine essence being. Often women's hormones can't handle the hustle culture. We're just not built for that biologically as much as men. We don't have as much testosterone in general. And I would say, even if someone is 10xing, my question would be, what is their life like behind closed doors? And are they deeply satisfied in their whole realm? So it may work, right? The hustle may work, but several of my clients are very much high achievers, very much able to do the hustle, but they come to me because they are suffering from an imbalance of sorts. So that could be not feeling at home in their body, feeling like life is flying by, not feeling connected to their family, to their friends, missing satisfaction. So these strategies can work. With the right person, they can work and there can be that level of satisfaction. But I would say just because that they're 10xing doesn't mean that there's the capital level success, if that makes sense. Also, beliefs are a big part of it. So if you believe that it's going to work, it's going to work, no matter what it is. Energetically, clearing out those beliefs from childhood and things like that. And for other entrepreneurs, they only get sales from feminine practices. Wait, I don't know the question. Another. So they can do the strategy and not lose as much energy in the process versus someone like a projector or low sacral person. Yeah, exactly. Like we're all built in different ways. And I would say ultimately, if you're watching a practice like that and there's this deep resonance in your body and your gut and your heart, and you're like, this is for me, this is going to work, that's a sign that it's going to work. But if it's in your head and your head starts spinning and you start feeling like I need to catch up and I need to do this, because this person is, if your authority is out there, then it's probably not going to work. But I will never like down any strategy for every single person, because let me tell you something about the brain and the nervous system. It is made up of billions of different neurons, billions. And these neurons connect in trillions of different ways. Can you even comprehend the number trillion? And that's just in one body. So in my body right now, there's trillions of different ways that electricity can flow through my pathways. Trillions. So when I'm looking at something, my body's firing in a completely different way than someone else who could be sitting right next to me. And think of how many different humans there are on the planet with trillions of different connections. There is a galaxy within every single person. And so I'm so passionate about bringing that authority like back into your own body and your own knowing, because you know what's best. But tracking your body as you do that is really important, especially if you want to avoid burnout, especially because we live in a culture, and this is changing slowly, but that is obsessed with hustle and busyness and crushing goals and killing it, and really uplifts and reveres more of the masculine approach to business. So track your body. I definitely like, I love the masculine energy part of me and do that. But over time, I've had to learn to track my system and know when to stop. Makes sense. Thank you. It has to be aligned. So good. Yes. Okay. I'm glad that was helpful. If there's any other questions, I would love to take them now. Otherwise, I will hop off. I'll try to go live again when I'm here, I'll be here through the end of this month. So if any of you know Chile, you can feel free to recommend some places for me. I'm in Santiago right now, and I know we're going to the ocean this weekend, and then we're going to go into the mountains the following weekend, but I'll be mostly in the cities, just hanging out with family, my baby. I've been getting yummy pastries and coffees and things like that. I got my nails done yesterday. They're really pretty pink bubblegum color. So I hope to go live again soon. Um, but thank you all for joining in. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to ask questions. Please, 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 you guys, give this video a like. That really helps me. It helps my channel. And I will talk to you again soon.